Hi, my name is Rabbi Sam Frankel. Um, Today is the 15th of March, the Ides of March, and I was scheduled to be able to speak at a congregation, Beth Aaron in Teaneck, New Jersey, this Saturday night, the 21st at 9 o'clock, on the topic of prayer and how prayer can affect your mind and how your mind and mindfulness can affect prayer. But a lot has changed since a few weeks ago when I first started planning this talk and what's happening today with the coronavirus. And what I want to do is I want to try today to put things into perspective. Because a lot of people think that this coronavirus is really some sort of what we call in Hebrew a makkah, some sort of a plague. I think it's really a miracle. And the comments that I'm making here today are not only for Jewish people. I will try and make this something that's relevant to the entire world because I think we all have a lesson to be able to learn from what's going on right now. This virus, I don't think at all is a plague. Because if it was really meant to be a plague, things would be a little bit different. Now, what I'm about to say, I don't want it to sound insensitive to anybody who has in any way been affected by this, and certainly for anybody who lost anybody. That's tragic, and we all mourn, and I wish them all recovery in the best way that they can. But realize, when you step back for a minute, that this is not only something that's affecting China, the United States, this is a message that's affecting the entire world. And this is something I believe is really a message from our Creator, because He's had it. The message that He's sending us, and this is a wake-up call, because realize that the people who are being affected most by this are the most infirm, the elderly, and few of them. If this was meant to be a plague, this could have been children that were being affected en masse. Now that would be a plague. This is a wake-up call. Things could be a lot worse. But what I think our Creator is telling us is that we need a timeout. Everybody has to go to your room to be able to reflect and to be able to think about how we've been acting with each other up until now. And let me tell you a couple of things that I've noticed a few weeks ago and seeing the deterioration of our world. I live in Teaneck, and the news that I get is from the local area, including New York. And one of the incidents I saw was a 15-year-old girl, not of my color, but that really doesn't make any difference because black lives matter, and so do white lives. Truth of the matter is all lives matter. Every person on this planet has a gift to give. And if we start looking at each other more in terms of what we can give rather than what we can get, I think this plague may end, or this miracle, depending on how you look at it. God is telling us, children, you haven't learned how to get along with each other. You take a 15-year-old girl, surround her by 15 of her peers, same age, same color. They beat the living daylights out of her to the point that she's unconscious, and to make sure everything is done right, they leave her without her sneakers. A few days earlier, there was an 85-year-old man who was punched in the face by a teenager who just didn't like the fact that he had a smile on his face. Teenager was miserable. Why not make you miserable too? So I'll just punch you and walk away. I don't care about the consequences and what happened afterwards. And then 2 days earlier, was a 75-year-old woman waiting for a bus. And some 22-year-old thought it was a good opportunity for him to grab her pocketbook, throw it to the ground, take her belongings, and just for good measure, step on her one time before I leave. This is the world we live in. You think our Creator is going to tolerate this for much longer? This is a wake-up call. The message is, go to your room, stay by yourselves. You realize that this week there was no mass? Can you imagine how the cardinal felt having to let everybody know that we can't have Mass? You know what it was like in Teaneck this weekend for there to be no synagogues open? People who needed to pray for the mourners, to say Kaddish, they couldn't do it. There was no Torah read. I've never remembered this in my lifetime. I hope I never see it again. But God looked down and he saw that this is what we need to wake up. I hope we get the message. When we come back out there, when we start interacting with each other, I hope we do it with caring. We have to learn how to be compassionate. We have to learn how to give. Now, the talk that's scheduled to go on Saturday night at 9 o'clock p.m., it may not be able to take place in Congregation Beth Aaron, but I will be doing it on video, and I hope people will be able to learn about the importance of prayer in their lives and the importance of each other in our lives. And remember that our Creator loves us, and sometimes we need to go to our room and think things over. And I hope and pray that when we come out, we all